Hi everyone, there's been so many updates the last time that we spoke, and I can't believe that in just a month of the last time of us being able to have this episode with each other, um, there's so many life updates and just changes in my life, and I'm excited to share them with you guys. So, a little over a week ago now, I just got back from a trip to Washington State with a friend of mine. We decided, maybe like a month ago that we were going to go. And I am just so proud of myself for taking that step. I've actually been wanting to go to Washington State for about 7 to 8 years now. And finally, I was able to go. It was beautiful over there. Here in Florida, you can't see the seasons, but over there, you can. And I got to see, the yellow, orange, and just a variety of different colors of the nature, the trees, and it was just so fascinating to be able to see all that, to breathe in that fresh, clean air, to see the mountains, to see the different environment. Like we went to the Pike Place Market, the Space Needle, a botanical garden, just so many different places that you normally don't see here. And I think that it was amazing. We were there for about like a week, a little over a week, and we got to see just the beauty of everything and just getting to experience what it's like to be in that environment was definitely something that I needed. So since high school, I've actually been wanting to go. A friend of mine, he had told me that he was raised in Washington State and then he moved down to Florida, I think, for high school, and he was just talking about how it's so beautiful over there and just the environment, that it's cleaner and everything. So, and then I feel like he planted that seed in me wanting to go visit the state at least. And I thought it was funny because when I told people that I wanted to go to Washington State, they kind of looked at me funny. They're like, what? Why? What's over there? Kind of thing. But I'm glad I went. I got to see so many beautiful things. The environment's a lot different. Over here where I'm at, it's predominantly Latino and white. So over there, it was primarily Asian. So that was definitely different for me because in the area that I'm in, there's not a lot of Asians, and I really got to see that showcased over there because there was a lot of different Asian restaurants. I got to try dumpling and the Korean black noodle soup, um, black bean soup. I'm sorry, noodle soup, and we actually got to even try, Bruce Lee's favorite restaurant over there in Seattle itself. We got to go to like a Japanese market, and it was just so fascinating to be able to experience a different culture, one that I normally don't get the chance to. And it really broadened my horizons to what's available, what's out there, what's there to see. Because it had been a little while since I have been on a flight, got to see somewhere different, because I went to Cali a couple years ago, but that's somewhere that I've been multiple times. I travel usually in Los Angeles, and I am just so proud of myself. Even right now, just talking about it, I just can't believe that I took the leap of faith, with my friend, and that we went, and that we didn't know um, much about the environment, but that we just decided to go anyway because she has some friends over there. We hung out with them. They drove us around a little bit. We got to see some beautiful sights with them. We got to see like the marina and some animals and stuff like that as well. And it also helps remind me that the environment that I'm in now, that there's more to see out there. So when I feel stuck, when I feel claustrophobic in the area that I'm in, or that everything feels repetitive, it's a good reminder, hey, that I can step out into somewhere new. Of course, save money, but still, that there's more to life out there than what meets the eye. And I would actually look at when was the last time I had aired an episode versus, now. Been almost a month ago by the time this streams on Friday. And I noticed that, because I pre record the episodes, that the very day that the last episode aired, I actually had an interview for a job, and I actually ended up getting the job. So just to kind of reiterate, talk about that a little bit. I work in the education system. I had been applying for jobs for months now, and I just wasn't getting any luck. I just felt like I was being stringed along. There was one job in particular that I was really hoping that I would get, but unfortunately I didn't. But I kind of take that as like a sign that it wasn't meant for me. Of course it wasn't meant for me. I didn't get the job. But regardless, a part of me didn't feel peace about it either. I kind of just like wanted a job just to, financially be able to support myself a little bit more. And it's not that I was unemployed or anything like that. I just felt like it's time to move on, because I've been a sub for almost 3 years now, and I genuinely felt like it was time for me to take that step, to take that leap, and just broaden my horizons. So I had been applying to like a teacher assistant job, and just of different titles and whatnot. And then finally, after months and months of applying and waiting and hoping and praying, I applied at night. So as soon as I found out that I didn't get the job that I was waiting for months for to get reached back to, I I looked immediately at the job site and saw, okay, let me look for other jobs. I applied that very same night that I got the email that I didn't get it. So I applied for a job at my old elementary school that very same night. And then the next morning, which is, the last time the episode aired, which was September 19th, I woke up to an email asking if I could come in for an interview the next day. So I think I'm getting my days mixed up, but I'm either a day off or whatever, but I think you get my point. So the day before kind of thing, like, oh, can you come in tomorrow for an interview at 9 a.m.? So then I said yes, and then yada yada kind of thing. And then I went in, I got the job, and then very shortly after, within less than a week, I left to Washington State. So, and then I just got back from Washington State less than a week ago. I just can't believe how much time has passed. There has been a lot that has happened. And then by the time this episode airs, I will have been I'll be in the middle of my fourth workday. And I'm just really excited. I feel like this is the real start of my career. I've actually been working in education since 2020. It all kind of started when COVID hit, and I was in my second semester of college when COVID hit, and I had to transition to online school, and I was really bummed out about that because I was kind of starting to get more comfortable, because my first semester was really difficult, and then, which I can talk about my college experience on another episode, but I just was lost because I was finally getting my college experience, and then I had to, I was forced to finish the rest of my associate's degree online. And my uncle had actually asked me if I could tutor his kids or help them with their schoolwork. And that's kind of like where everything started with me working in the education field. That's what I've been doing since then, and that's still what I'm doing now, 5 years later. And I am just so thankful for the opportunity that he gave me. I was genuinely so scared because I didn't know that I didn't think I would have the capability to do that because I had no experience in, teaching anyone or anything like that. Even though, growing up in school, people always asked me for help, and, they always told me, hey, like, I really like the way you explain things. I really do feel that it makes it easier for me. And everyone always said growing up that I was going to work in education, and I always brushed it off. I was like, no, I don't think so. I don't get paid enough. I don't really like it. And then here I am now, right? Still working. I'm working in the education field as a career. So I just find that really fascinating. And so I did that for about 2 or 3 months, and I just I didn't really think too much about it. And then after that, I started questioning, like, do I want to pursue education? And I was thinking about getting, my bachelor's in elementary education, but like I said, my whole college experience is just a mess in itself, and I just think that I really didn't know what I wanted, so, and then I decided, hey, let me just leave it as is and just try to work towards something else. So I continued, and I didn't really get like an education job, quote unquote, until like a couple years later. Um, in 2022, in 2021 I got hired, then 2022 started, and I worked as like a reading tutor for my old elementary school, which is funny because now I'm gonna have like a permanent full-time position at the school now at my old elementary school. So little did I know I'd be coming back 3 years later, right? So and then I did that for like a semester, reading, doing as like a reading tutor for AmeriCorps, and I really liked it. I just felt like I wanted to do something else, something different. So and then later that year in 2022, I got hired on as a sub, which is still what I've been doing for these past almost 3 years. And then now I'm finally transitioning to this job that I am now. And I think that's just something that we have to remember as young adults, is that sometimes we get led down paths that we never thought we would, and but we just pray, take it with God, do it little by little, and just trust in Him that He's going to take us where He wants us. And I am just so thankful, so thankful that I was able to finally get a chance to from someone to see me and to say, hey, you know what, let's try this, and I'm just glad that my boss decided to take a chance on me. She said that she's very excited. She likes the fact that I, want to pursue education, that I want to be a teacher, that I have, the background working with special education students. That's primarily what I did while I subbed. It's what I preferred. It's what I like. And I think it's just so fascinating how me volunteering for special needs kids since I was, I want to say I was 14. This is back in 2015. And I, in high school, and I was told about this sort of place called Give Kids the World, in which, they, provide villas for the families to stay in, or like apartment style, and they have like a whole location in which they are able to stay there for free. They have food there for free, which I actually ended up working there for a little while too, in the food and beverage. And they have rides there, they have parties for the kids, they have an ice cream parlor, they have an arcade, like a place with arcade games and whatnot. And it's just like a very beautiful place, and they help specialize in with kids, with critical illnesses. And starting there, I think, is where I truly grew a heart for kids with special needs. And then now to know, 10 years later, right? Because that was in 2015, now it's 2025, 10 years later now, because of all of that experience throughout all these years, now I'm finally being able to translate that into a career itself. And I just can't help but thank God, and just really put my mind and head around just saying thank you, Jesus. Finally, after 10 years of hard work, of taking education seriously, and working hard in school, and just volunteering and getting what I need to get done, putting my head down and really focusing. Now I'm finally gonna have the chance to really broaden my horizons and start my career. Hope to God that I graduate next year with my bachelor's, which I definitely want to talk about that next episode, my college experience. But either way, I really hope that you guys have a great weekend. I'm thinking about you guys, praying for you guys. I hope that everything that you pray for, that you aspire for, anything that within time, when it's the right time, that it happens for you. And I pray for good health. I know coming into the fall season, a lot of the kids can get sick, and then even us as adults. But I hope that you enjoy your weekend, that you have a wonderful just week in general. And I just can't wait to see what the future has in store for every single one of us. Please feel free to comment down below if you have any life updates yourself. I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of sleepy. But either way, Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless you. Bye.